What's up, guys? Today we're talking about vacant land. I'm going to show you a couple tricks that will save you a lot of time, a lot of energy, and it's so important. Let me pull this up real quick so I don't forget. Perfect. So, sorry guys, I was out last week. I had to take care of some family business, but we are back. So if you are new to here, make sure you go over to freewholesaling.com. Where did I put that? Freewholesaling.com. I will teach, actually me and Zach will teach you everything you want to know about wholesaling, from wholesaling single family homes, multis, vacant lands. Go over there and check it out. It's 100% for free. And we got over 30 years experience. Go ahead and check that out if you want to get started in wholesaling. There's absolutely no cost. The only thing that stands in the way is just you. Not only am I going to teach you how to do your first deal, I'll teach you how to get to your first $100,000. Make sure you go over there and check it out. And make sure you guys use the comments, introduce us, what market you're from, a little bit about yourself, and hell, why not make a friend while you're here? So that's the whole point of today. So today we're talking all about vacant land, very straightforward on how to do it. And I'm going to share the real reasons why I like vacant land. Now, I always talk about the fundamentals of wholesaling. So anything I can like physically wholesale, I'm all in. So vacant land would be no different. And actually, I'm here to tell you, vacant land actually has some incredible advantages. And most of you guys haven't really realized this. And I'm going to point it out to you and show you right now in 2025, what are the huge advantages of doing vacant land. Now, here's the really cool part. Everything I'm about to teach you, sorry about that, is applicable to single family and multifamily homes, period. End of story. So whatever I teach you here today, you can use in all facets of wholesaling real estate, particularly in single family houses. So there are two key distinct advantages for wholesaling in 2025, and you want to be aware of it. Now, what are the biggest gripes you guys have about wholesaling when it comes to single family houses? Number one, the sellers have way too much information at their fingertips. What do I mean by that? A seller can go to Zillow and get their Zestimate, and they literally think that's what their house is worth. I'm going to be honest with you, it's gotten a lot better, but it works really, really well. And when I started out wholesaling, homeowners really didn't have this information, and I admit it. They didn't have it. It was a little bit easier on that side, a lot less information. And if you understand that, I'm going to show you how this works in your advantage when it comes to wholesaling vacant land. Number two. So what do I mean by that one? There's just less data for sellers. Let me give you a perfect example. If I pull up the data for any type of vacant home, from Zillow to X Leads to PropStream to Batch, whoever you want to use, they're going to be all over the board. Why? Because it's not that easy to comp vacant land. Why? Because there's not a lot of comps for it. And there's not a lot of things you can actually compare it other than its location and its size. That's it. Single family houses are number one, location. Number two, the quality of the build. Number three, the size of the build under error, and the features of the house. And those three things are always going to predominate what the value of the property is. Now, when it comes to vacant land, it's completely different. So the only way any piece of software can value a piece of vacant land is what they paid for it, what any other vacant land similar to it have closed for, which are relatively few. And number three, the size of the lot. So what I have right here on the screen right now, because sellers have less data on this, it is your unique advantage, because nobody can go, oh, the lot's worth 20,000, it's worth 30, it's worth 10, it's worth 5. That's the really cool part. Actually, this right here, what I'm showing you, is going to give you the biggest advantage and the biggest headache at the exact same time. I know it sounds crazy, but this is the truth, and I'm going to show you how to deal with it. The next thing that we have to understand why vacant land is so advantageous, especially in 2025. Not only do sellers not have a lot of data on it, it's a much less emotional transaction. And what do I mean by that? It just means because the seller does not live in the property, they do not reside in it as a home, and they are not like personally attached to it, they're making a less emotional decision. And what do I mean by that? It means emotions do not run the gamut when it comes to sellers selling vacant land. In fact, they really don't care. They weren't raised there. They did not grow their kids up there. And for that factor, it makes it much easier for sellers to make a decision. Whereas the exact same opposite happens with single family homes is it is a home. They've raised their kids there. They've been there with their spouse, and they have a hard time separating that emotional tie. Now, the fact that you don't live in these vacant properties makes it actually super simple for the seller to make a decision. So in my eyes, I'm here to tell you right now, I'll cut to the chase. The hardest part is determining what the value of the land is. And we're going to walk through that today and show you how to do it. Sellers don't know it, and honestly, you guys don't know it either. So we have to take today's live stream and put this all together and figure out how to work it. Because if you can figure out how to do this, you can do anything you want in wholesaling. So if we understand the vacant land advantages, less data for sellers, a less of an emotional decision. Those are the two reasons why I love vacant land hands out, and that's the reason why I want to go with that. So look at Luca. Literally just assigned an info lot 6,500 house in Dallas Fort Worth. Bought at 18, sold at 28, new builds going up and selling for 350. So this is a perfect gentleman for you guys to reach out to. Sorry, I got an itch. I know Luca, he's a great wholesaler, and he understands he'll wholesale anything he can put a contract on. You should do the exact same thing. And so the most important thing is asking him, how did he come up with the value of it? And that's what we're all going to share today, and that's what we want to do. So, and they got Brianna right here wrapping up her first vacant land for my second deal. So I would love to hear from these two people. So you guys just don't hear it coming from the horse's mouth. Vacant land is there, guys. It is everywhere. And if you guys are doing this virtual, it is the perfect way to do wholesaling. There's no other way to do it. So I appreciate it, guys. Okay, so let's jump into it. And so the first thing we have to do is, number one, you have to find where the demand for these properties are. Now, if you're in your local market, you can figure that out pretty quickly. So for the longest time, I did the Florida market and I knew my exact markets. Most of my land opportunities were to the northern end of Florida, basically from Brevard and up. From the southern part, it was pretty much already picked through. And that kept me busy for about 15 years of having no issues wholesaling vacant land. Fast forward to 2025, much more of an issue in South Florida. It is pretty much north of Brevard County. I'd say even more north than what I'm saying right now, because there's just less and less land available. So let's talk about the sweet spots, and then I'm going to tell you how to find the demand. So most of the lots I find are 50K or less, period, end of story. They just work. They're free and clear. They usually have 2 years of ownership. They're usually infill lots. And there's usually, I'm pulling at least 10,000 pieces of data so I can score a solid deal. Now, can I get 5 deals in 10,000? Yeah, but I'm just telling you on average, if I comb through 10,000 leads, I can probably get one. And that's what you need to do. We have to understand that. So let's find, if we understand that's the sweet spot, 50K, free and clear, 2 years ownership, infill lots, and I need 10K pieces of data, That is your blueprint to get a vacant lot. So if we understand that, now we have to find where demand is. And so how do we find demand in wholesaling? Number one, if you're doing it in your local market, you can somewhat guess. And that's how I had to get started, and that's how a lot of you did. But if you're doing this virtually, there's better tools for you to get going. I'm going to put some up here to make it super simple for you. Find demand. Now, I have no affiliations with any of these websites. They are just what I call user-friendly vacant land search sites. And you can see what lots are going for. You can see what areas are in demand. Honestly, there's about 30 of them. I just did like the top 4, and you can put them in there. LoopNet's more of a commercial one, but I still do find residential under LoopNet. That's been around a long time. Land Search, Land Watch, Land Leader, blah, 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 blah. So I like to go and see where people are looking to move. The other thing is you can do a common sense filter and find out where people are migrating to. Where do people want to go in 2025 in the United States? They want to go somewhere where the weather is good. It's usually not freezing. That's a given. That's why Florida's been so popular, but it's hot as hell here. Number 2, they want to look for a tax favorable state. Ideally, no state income tax, although that's not the big precursor. They want to go somewhere that the city's being taken care of, that's not like a sanctuary city. And so they want tax-friendly. Number 3, they want a political-friendly state, meaning they want to know that their citizens are taken care of and people aren't abusing the laws. And what was our final piece? We did weather, we did taxes, we did political environment. And then it's just an affordability issue with it. Like obviously, state of New York's not going to be ideal. Depending if you want land or if you don't want land. Some people like land, so they can raise animals and everything else. Some people just like to have the privacy, and that's a big part of it. But you put all those factors in together, and then you got to decide where people are moving to. Now, here's the really cool part. You can use AI, Chat GPT, any of that stuff, and you can find out trends, which are the top states moving to. So for the last year, it's been Florida and Texas, and now it's a little bit less of Florida. Obviously, Texas is still big. And then you're going to have states like Tennessee, the Carolinas, Georgia, pretty much the entire southeast part of the United States. Don't ask me why. That's just the way it is. Now, if we understand that, then we can easily go out and find demand. How do I define demand? I find demand where people are buying vacant lots for cash. End of story. That is the piece of data that tells me that there is activity there. So unless you do it personally, or you know it, you got to go out and find that information. It is completely up to you to get that information. Once you get that information, let me put this out here. Beverly. I am putting out the one-on-one chat because I forgot to put it out there. So right here, I'm going to put, I love your guys' comments. I got Jamie here. Hey, Jamie. Jamie says she's here on the Treasure Coast. She's right in my backyard. St. Lucie County is saturated with wholesalers. Here's the reality of that comment, Jamie, is it's saturated with really bad wholesalers. So it doesn't take much to rise above them. You just got to learn the right techniques and the fundamentals of wholesaling. And if you do, I've been wholesaling on the Treasure Coast for going on 22 years now, and I have no issues at all. Do I have annoying low-level wholesalers everywhere? Absolutely. But the ones that actually learn the business and rise above, they always do well. The ones that don't, they never, ever last. And they use the words, what's the words? Saturated. So I want you to get away from that word, but I'll show you how to do it. What's up, D? Yeah, I was out a week. I take care of a family issue and I got sick as a dog. So you guys didn't want to see me. So I'm still recovering. And Lord, yes, it is. What's up, Ariel? Okay, let me get back to where we're going here. So we're talking about looking at finding that demand. And that's all I do is I like to search user-friendly sites to see what the demand is. Now, there's plenty of land for sale everywhere. You just got to find the people that have intentions to sell it. And you got to find the right number. A lot of the things I'm going to teach you on today's video is the exact way I'm going to teach you how to do wholesaling in single family. We're still going to use Go for No. We're still going to get the lowest price. I know I might upset people out there that love to pay the highest price and love to get rejected by their cash buyers because they overpaid for it. Trust me, there's plenty of other people that can teach you those methods out there. If people's biggest gripe is the way I use a Go for No offer, then God bless you. Obviously, if that's your biggest gripe with me, you have not done wholesaling long enough to understand most of you overpay for the property. So the best remedy to avoid overpaying for the property is using the Go for No method. And that's what you truly want to do. So we're going to find demand. And how do we find the demand? It's simple. We just go look on those sites. Now, you all can go do that on your own. These sites are like all over the board. Anybody can list. And when I see 36 properties listed in a particular zip code, and I can verify that there's actually closings of cash buyers in there, then that's a great place to get started. Here's the problem with vacant land. If you're out in rural areas and you have very, very small populations, not a lot of big towns out, it is going to be a tough go at this. You have to have demand. Without demand, you have nothing when it comes to wholesaling vacant lots. In fact, if you don't have demand, you don't even have a deal put together. I've bought some of the cheapest lots in the Dakotas in North Florida, and I couldn't give them away. But the minute I got towards a town where there was actually demand and people wanted to live there, it was a piece of cake. And so do not try to wholesale vacant land in places people do not want to live. You can't make people move to an area. I have tried. It doesn't work no matter what I do. You have to be very careful where you buy that land. So keep that in mind when we do it. Now, let's do this. How are we going to reach people? What is one of the easiest and most effective ways you can reach out to people with vacant land, or heck, even vacant properties? What do you think is the easiest way to do it? Here's one that's often overlooked. Just go on Zillow. Look for rents, or you can look for vacant lands. People looking to lease the land or even rent the land are great people to reach out to see if they want to sell the land. How do I do that? Well, Rick, it says they're renting the lot. Same thing. It is actually one of the best ways. And I'm here to tell you, one of the first ways I ever got these, and I still to this day, is I do for rents. So I'll go in Zillow, I'll go on Craigslist, I'll do anything with for rents, particularly vacant land lots, which are rare because they usually lease out the land. Why? Because the property's sitting there doing nothing. And if they're ever going to rent it to you or lease it to you, this is the best way to do it. Or you find that piece of property that nobody else knows about because you're calling on the one on-market property and they've got 5 off-market properties. This is the perfect way to do it. In fact, I love the for rent so much. It is one of my favorite ways to do subject twos, lease options, owner financing, anything like that. Because you all just assume when somebody's got something for rent, they just want to rent it and do nothing else. In fact, when somebody wants to rent something, it just means they want steady cash flow without a lot of headache. And if you can supply your seller with that, you can get great deals. And I like to use the little hidden term like the for rents. I just go through and rip through them because you have the phone number there, you have everything you need, and you can make a couple thousand calls and get a deal. Now, if you have to skip trace the number and do everything like that, that can be a handful when you do that. And I don't want you to do that. So everybody understand about the for rents? I love the for rents. I love it. So, okay. So let's talk about qualifying vacant land deals. And I'm the first to admit this is a little bit different because it's easier. Now remember, you have two distinct advantages. Remember, the seller doesn't really know the value of their lot. The value of a lot is only determined by what a cash buyer would pay for it. And if you haven't done it at this point, we don't know. Number two, you know that the seller does not live in this vacant land, so you're going to have less of the emotional, like, this is where I raised my daughter. This is where I baptized my wife, stuff like that. You're not going to have any of that. It is a much easier conversation to have over the phone, and you can actually do some serious damage virtually because you don't need the usual buying cues that you visually see people because they're so attached to their house. So if we know that, I normally teach you guys what we call MCTP for qualifying: motivation, condition, time frame, and price. And it works very well for a house. But the problem is when we talk about vacant lands, the first two don't really make sense. So motivation, you don't really need a clear-cut motivation to sell a piece of vacant land other than they're willing to sell it. So it's kind of because they're not living there. And they usually paid cash for it. So other than the taxes, there's not a lot of carrying expenses. So it's not become a financial strain. They just want to get rid of it. The other one is the condition. Everybody knows the condition of a vacant piece of property. It's whatever the earth is at the time. So we're going to remove M and C in this because it doesn't make sense. And so, okay, Rick, what words to replace them with them? It's real simple. Here's what we're going to do. Instead of doing that, we are going to start with what we call UBTP. So we've replaced the M and the C, guys, with a B and a U and a B to be technically correct. And here's simply how it goes. You don't have to change a lot. And honestly, remember, this is a less emotional attachment for sellers. So you can get through the qualification much quicker. In fact, all they have to do is be willing to sell it at a given price. And that's all you really need for vacant land. And like when it really comes to it, but let's walk through the entire qualifying process. First one, U. What does U stand for? Somebody let me know in the comments, see if someone's paying attention here. What does U stand for in UBTP when qualifying vacant lots? And the bells go, and the bells are ringing, and now we are waiting for an answer. If I could play music, I would play it at this time, but I don't think I have any here, do I? I do. Let's see. That's terrible. Okay, let's get that off. I don't even know how I got that on there. Okay, so on the U, real simple. Let me put it up here. Utilities. Do you currently have utilities for your vacant piece of land? Now, I really don't care if they do or not. Like I just tell you, the reason I ask this question, number one, they know the answer. They 100% know the answer. And number two, if they already know the answer to it, it helps you with small talk and your ability to connect and build rapport with people. Does everybody understand that? That's why I ask it. Utilities is when they run the wires underneath the ground and they run any type of gas. So gas lines, water lines, electrical lines. And honestly, most utilities on an infill lot are already completed. The reason you ask this, it makes the lot more valuable. And number two, you're asking a question you predominantly already know the answer to, and it puts your sellers a little bit at ease when you ask them a question they already know the answer to you. It actually makes it much more fluent of a conversation. And the more fluent of a conversation you have, the better it is for everybody involved in wholesaling. So, hey, Mr. Seller, can you tell me, are the utilities set up in place on your piece of land? Yes, they ran it. It just got natural gas line, plus it's got the electrical, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so once we do that one, what's the B stand for? The B's easy. It means building. And it's got a question mark after it. And after that, it said, Mr. Seller, what were your intentions on building on this lot? Are you building a single family home or? And then let them go into the drama of what they were doing. Now, one or two things going to happen. Either they're going to tell you that they made a mistake and they bought it thinking they do this, but so-and-so changed. Or, hey, I bought it to build a second home. I bought it 30 some odd years ago. I never got around to it. It just didn't work. Now, a lot of them will tell you at this point, I paid $15,000 for it. I paid $10,000 for it. I love that number because it gives me a good starting point. You can look that up in the tax records and see what they paid for it. It just gives you kind of like a ballpark and a ball frame. But the reason why I want to find out is what were they building on it? And 9 times out of 10, you'll find out it was permitted for either a single family home, a multi, it could be agricultural. You got to know what the property is designed for, because you want to know what its highest and best use is. So sometimes people start messing with it, or they didn't build because they couldn't get the multifamily. They tried to separate out the parcels, and we have to figure that part out. So that's the building. The next one. So the only ones we change on that in the UBT is the U, which is utilities, and the B is for building. Timeframe's just still going to be, hey, when did you plan on building on the property? And this is the point where I'm trying to find out if they're going to commit or do absolutely nothing. And if they're interested in selling it and they have no time frame, I'm going to ask them, if I was able to buy your vacant lot, would you be willing to do a deal within 30 days? Why? Because if you've already waited 20 years, what's waiting another 30 days to get the deal done? What if it's 60 days? What if it's 90 days? This is the absolute beautiful thing about vacant land. It's not as time sensitive as you guys do with single family houses. So most single family houses, people want it done net 30, 45 days. I find when it comes to vacant land, they really don't care all that much. And even if you fall out of contract, which you will, they're not as freaked out on you on it, because number one, they're not living in the property. Number two, it's not a big deal. So the average vacant property is 30 to 90 days, just because nobody's living in it. We don't have to do all that. And think about this, guys. You don't have to inspect the property. You don't have to worry about your cash buyers walking through it. It's typically going to be your builders or your small home builders. And that person is going to walk the property and figure out everything they want to know about it. So I like to use the time frame. The time frame is always going to be a huge one on price. And then the last one is always going to be price. I put the word price so you know exactly what I'm talking about, but do not use the word price, ask, offer, amount. I simply say, John, what do you need to get rid of this lot? That's it. Literally write down what I say, because you can't screw that up. Because if you ask what people want or make an offer, you are going to get retail answers, and that's not what we want to do. So people always say, Rick, how do I get to the price? The price is the biggest sticking point. And keep in mind, people only know what they paid for the lot. They say, let me do a little looking around to see what the lots are worth. That's where you as the wholesaler come in and educates them. Go, listen, the average lot on a 10,000 square foot lot is selling between $20,000 and $23,000 a lot. That's listing with a realtor, paying the full 10% and putting it on the market 3 to 4 months. Now, John, are you interested in selling it? Yes. Did you want me to put you in touch with a realtor to go that way? Or is there a number that we can both work with that will get you what you want, that allows me some room to make some money in this and get this sold quickly for you? Yes. And then that's where I'm going to just go in and hit them with the low number. How much? I'm probably going to offer 10. Oh my God. Oh my God. Rick just offered 10. That's right. Remember, it's less emotional and they have no idea. Now, my odds are I'm going to get rejected, but he's going to come back. Okay, well, if they're trading 20 to 23, can't you do like 18 or 19? I go, listen, I can do this all day long. The most I can pay you, the absolute top dollar, and I'll just cut to it now, is $15,000. I just leave it there. And hopefully I can sell it for 22, 23, maybe 25. I make just under 10 and I'm good to go. Do you see how simple it was? There was not like there's not a lot of like, either they want to do it or they don't. And so if I walk them through the qualification, the UBTP, and I walk them through and then I find out what they paid for it and find out, hey, most people sell me their vacant land just because I can solve it right then and right there. That's it. They go, hey, it works for me. Here's how I sold my vacant land recently. I think I paid $7 grand for my lots between 5 and 7. I sat on them 10 years. They didn't do anything. They actually went backwards. And then one day I got a call out of blue and somebody offered me between 15 and 20 for them. So 2 of them I sold for 15. The other 2 I sold for 17.5 and 1 more for 18. And then they sold them for 23 on me. I didn't care. Like, honestly, I literally didn't care. I was happy. I got my money back. I basically doubled my return. I'm fine with it. And that's how I sold my lots. So if that's how I think about selling my lots, think about all the people you'll deal with. They don't go through like this crazy, like, oh, I got to kick my tenant out and do all this stuff. They just decide if they want the money or not. And they will see if you follow your word and they will work with you on it. I'm telling you, I do it all the time. It's my favorite way to do it. Now, let's talk about, actually, let me see here. Nope, that's not it. Let's see if we can share the screen here. Okay, so if you guys want to go to X Leads, you go, okay, Rick, how can I go in and pull a vacant land list? Real simple, go under property leads, pick an area that you want to do. Let's just say we were going to do, let's just say Dallas, because Luca inspires me. So as it goes, 310,000 properties. So let me go under my filters here. And the first thing under property valuations is I am going to look for, let me clear off all these. Just land. Let's see what our numbers come in on that one. If you see down here, you'll see the searching button and it spins and spins. That's, so now we went from 310,000 down to 16,000. And then under valuations, I'm going to do a $45,000 max. So I said 50,000 or below, but let's see what that puts us at. 6,479. Let's take it down to 30,000. Oops. Let's see, it was on 6,000 before. That gets us just below 4,000. And let's do this. Let's just make sure each lot size is at least a quarter acre. Now I'm at 1,041. So the next thing I did is told you that I like at least 2 years. Let's do 3 years minimum ownership. I like 2, but let's see if 3 will cut us down to a more manageable list. That's 205. That's a little tight. So let's go to 2, which goes to show you these properties trade hands quite a bit. 233. Now you can do all sorts of more information. I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. I'm showing you how to filter these lands. Previous sale, listing, mortgage, ownership information. So let's see the results on those. And here's what I have. So if you go under there, you can just click one randomly here. And so we're going to have 2 values here, guys. So I can't tell right from this picture because it's not highlighted. But it gives me a retail value of 4,500 and a wholesale of 2,900. Now I can click comps, but obviously there's not a lot. I can go over to the Google results and I can see what Zillow is going to tell me. Let's see what Zillow says. I don't think, so Zillow doesn't even want to give a number, 4,500. And then let's go to, let's look at Redfin and see what they come up with. So once again, Redfin gives 0. So Redfin, Zillow, and X Leads, which just gives you a base price. Now, what I can do is I can go through my X Leads. The first thing is I have their skip trace number right here, and I have their email. So I'm going to give Mary and Connor a call right off the bat. But here's the next part is we go over to, and we can look on record, the assessed value at $4,500. And we look at it, it looks like they bought it a long time ago. They've had this property since 2006, and there's not much on value other than $4,500. So I'm going to pick up the phone and give Connor a call and see what kind of number they want to do. Now, here's the really cool thing. Inside X Leads, I can look and view at residential properties and see what Connor owns. And it looks like this is the only property. And it looks like just a vacant piece of land. But what you can do is when you get these lists, you can download them all and you can simply skip trace them. Let me go back to my... So I can go back to my list, which only have one on that list. Go back to my property leads. So if you look at these numbers, though, this is the part that's so here's one that'll even tell you it's active listing. In foreclosure, tax delinquencies, listing price $75,000. It's telling you it's way overvalued by 242%, which is all valuable. But the question is, it's been listed since January, only 16 days. I would probably wait it out. I don't like to deal with realtors until I have to. But the last sale on this thing was $21,893 in 2022, and the market assessed value is around 10 grand. So who knows on these? But the thing is, you can sit here and go through X Leads and you can pull up all the vacant lots like you want. And you can sort through all this stuff. Look at this stuff. Here's another one, Lewiston. 10, the retail value, it's around 19.5. This is the challenge of finding out. So number one, I find out if the seller's motivated. I find out what's the least they would take for it. And so I'm going to go under Google results and see if I can see anything under Zillow, any numbers that'll even make sense. And Zillow is assessing the property as $75,000, but only rents for $1,700. So that's not really going to help me out a whole lot. So, and you can go under comps right here and you can run an entire comps report. But remember, a lot of these are single family homes and we're looking for vacant properties. So that's not going to be all that helpful on that one. So the whole question is when these properties come up, this lead right here in Dallas, Texas, ARV is around 30, wholesale is around 20. But we got to find out what our cash buyers are willing to pay for this type of property. How do I do that? I just go up here. Now there's no skip trace number, just an email. And then I click this person owns 2 residential properties, which I can find all this under X Leads. And they like, this one looks like it's vacant. And this one looks like it's possibly looks like a rental property being a absentee owner type of deal. So let me get this off here. Did I not share my screen just now? That's stupid. I can't believe I did that. Hold on. I must have been sharing the wrong one. Can you guys see it now? Yeah, you can tell when I'm out of the studio for so sorry about that one. Let me go back in here and see if I can reduplicate what I did. God only knows. Considering I got 3 X-Lead screens open. I did. Oh my God. Okay. Well, that's so funny. Okay, I did. So where did I put that one? Ah. So here's another one so you guys kind of get an idea. I was saying, this one's in Dallas, Texas. So this is a vacant lot. You can see all the wooding on it. It looks like it's a corner lot. 23.7 is the retail, 15 is the wholesale. And typically, you can't put a lot of stock in vacant land numbers on any type of wholesale software because it has to go off from the most recent comps. And there's much more single family homes sold than actual vacant land. So typically what I'll do is go under Google results. Zillow is always going to be the first one that pops up. And Google's going to give me nothing. And keep in mind, this is what your homeowner has to go off of. And this is why it's so frustrating to them. So we'll go to the next one, which is going to be Redfin. Let's see what Redfin says about the property. It says it's worth $246,000. So one says it's worth 0. The other says it's worth $246,000. You tell me. You know how you really find out the value of this land is you go out and find the cash buyers in that area that are buying vacant lots. They're typically going to be small developers, GCs, or people that like to work on properties for themselves, for their family, and you find out what that number is. I don't think it's $245,000. I think it's $245,000 with a home on it. So I'm assuming a $40,000 to $50,000 lot. But once again, you can go through here. It's already titled vacant land, and the last sale date was on 2015 at $7,500. And they're saying the AVM on it is around 23,000. So in my perfect world, I try to buy this for 10 to 15 and get it sold from there. It looks like they bought it in a sheriff sale back in 2015, which means they probably got a really good buy on it. So not bad. Okay, let's see. Stop screen. So the biggest challenge. Wait a minute, that lot's owned by, let's see. I didn't see who owned it. Oh, the Dallas School District. So, yeah, school district owns it, ownership type government. So those typically ones we're not going to buy anyways. Like, okay. I got off subject here quickly because I didn't share my screen correctly. So, okay, sorry about the screen share there. So let's do this, guys. If you have, let me go through and answer some questions here. I'm just getting back on the flow of things this week. So where did I put it? I'm fine, guys. I'm fine. Just sometimes we get like little things that take us out and we just got to deal with them. So, so if you guys want to hop on, let me put the invite back up in there because it looks like I lost it again. Go from there. Xavier, are you there? Xavier, can you hear me? It's just one of those days with me. Okay. So simply on the vacant land, all you do is pull it out. The sellers never know what they want for it. They never even, like, some have a wish list. But they'll go, listen, I bought it for 5, 10 years ago. How much can you give it for me now? All you need to do to make an offer on any type of vacant land, especially in wholesaling, is find out what a cash buyer is willing to pay for it. And if the cash buyer is willing to pay 25 and you buy it for 20 or 15, that's all we do. And because it's less emotional and it's much easier for sellers to part with virtually, you can do this absolutely anywhere you want to do this in the country. I'm telling you, it happens all the time. So an infill lot is basically when the entire neighborhood's built out and there's 1 or 2 vacant lots. The utilities and everything's already set. They've already cleared the trees. The only thing they haven't done is built the lot on it. Infill means usually they put a bunch of dirt in there and compact it to meet the minimum soil requirements. You guys definitely don't want me talking like a builder. I do not talk builder numbers. I talk wholesale numbers. So that's about it. So that's it, guys. Okay, so if you guys have questions, ask questions. If you want to jump on the live, you can jump on the live. One of my favorite ways to do, I'm going to pull this up real quick. Make sure I got the right one. So when you guys go to pull lots, I'm going to give you like a little thing here because I see a lot of you guys, sometimes the way you guys pull lots, I'm never quite sure how you do it. So what I like to do is go over to the map section. So I'm going to go over here, Florida, just give you an idea. So most of you guys are doing this virtually or locally in one of your markets. You have an idea. So most of the development in Florida is always going to be out west. That's where all the developers want to buy because everything out by the beach has been built. So if I'm going to look, I can tell you right now, I'm looking area over here. So instead of, I'm just going to draw an area. I'm trying to think. I'm going to use this polygon box and I'm going to start up here. I'm going to draw here. I'm going to draw. Oops. Okay. Huh. I lost my, there it is. Okay. And I'm going to go over here and stretch this out. Bingo. Why didn't that work? Okay. Let's try it one more time. So in Florida, I go and look out to the western lots. Oh, there it is. So I know this area right here, and what I'm going to do is, let's just do Port St. Lucie. I'll show you how I find lots in my own area. Now, obviously the 83,000 because it's so big. And so what I do is, so you know the entire western part from here to there, this is where all the future lots are being built. Everything from this side over has been built. So I can simply take my polygon and go like this. Now I don't want Indian Town because I already know what's over there. And then I'm going to go over all my filters and I'm going to change them up. Excuse me. So all I'm going to do is go over here on X-Leads just like this. I'm going to click in their land, and let's see how many numbers are come up. Of course, we come up with 0 because I picked an area that is just dead. So let's try this. And so when I run that, I wind up getting 7,000 leads, and then I can walk through it. But I know out west in Port St. Lucie, I can find plenty of deals. Like right here, this is a typical deal I would deal with. So you guys see, my God, I know this street. All these houses are developed around it. You can kind of call this an infill lot. Usually they're cleared out and it's ready to go. And it sold for $119,000. Now that's a good comp because I know what it was sold for. Now that was over a year ago. Prices are about the same. And look at this. It gave you the retail value of $119 and the wholesale of $77.3. The only problem with that is there's just not a lot of comps to support it because it's a corner lot and it's all set. So this property's already been built out and everything. And that's it. If we go through, a guy looks like he bought the lot. He mortgaged $71,500, which means he probably paid about $40,000 in cash. And they said the market value was assessed at $87,000. So he probably paid a little bit more because it's a corner lot. But like you can quickly find out what the values of these lots are. I'm trying to see if there's any other history on this property. It looks like this person probably owns another home. We'll take a look. 2 absentee owners. So now we have a vacant landowner, and I just give this guy a call. He owns this property. It could be his personal house, but it says absentee owner. That's in Okeechobee, Florida. Good Lord. That one looks like it's vacant too. And then we got the one in Port St. Lucie, which I just pulled you up. And this is it. You just call. Like the name of this game is always calling. And of course, this guy has no phone number to skip trace, but that's how it works on these things. Let me stop sharing my screen here. So does everybody get it on how this works on these? And it's so important that you understand how to make this work. So first and foremost, I want to let you guys know the Zach Discord that is on. We do those on Friday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I believe we run them for about an hour and a half. If you really want to join in a community that connects and does everything, the Zach Discord is your best place to go. And make sure you join us there. Also, on our X-Leads, go to xleads.com, check it out. Every Saturday morning, we have a support call for 1 hour. Me and Zach either do it together or we rotate and we show you. Most importantly, we show you how to do the ninja mode, which is our go high level, which is built inside of X-Leads, which most of you pay in excess of your CRMs and your wholesale database. And now we can include that in there for you. So make sure you go over there and check that out. So guys, what else was I going to say here? Let's see here. What else I forget? I think it's about all I have. I know it's a little bit quiet today, guys. So I'm just recovering, getting over some of this cold stuff, all that fun stuff that goes around. But I lost my voice and I was out for a little bit and had like a really bad cold. But guys, I love vacant land. Just go out. The biggest thing you have to solve is to figure out what the cash buyer would pay for that. And the thing is, in the beginning, it's frustrating because you don't know. And then once you do know, all you have to do is get the best price from your seller. And if you use the simple go for no strategy, it is much less painful in vacant land properties than it's ever going to be on single family homes. And if you know that going into it, you can make that work. So, check it out either way. So, guys, I think that's it. I think that's about all I have. And you guys don't have a lot of questions. So, now, if you have any questions, make sure you go over to freewholesaling.com and you can fill out anything that's missing. It's scrolling on the bottom. It is 100% a free course. Teach you not only how to get your first wholesale deal, but how to get to your first 100 grand. God knows I've lived this. I live it every month, by the way, because I do it every month over and over. And I love what I do. And wholesaling is the highest skill set you can learn, period, in real estate. Don't believe me? The skills I've learned today and how I'm talking to you is because I mastered wholesaling when I was significantly younger. And for that reason is the reason why my son does it and the reason why I teach you this. If you can master wholesaling, you can master anything in your life. It is completely up to you guys. You have got to master wholesaling and you want to get that done. So make sure you go over to freewholesaling.com, check out everything. And that's it, guys. And listen, as usual, if you got value from today's video, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you click that subscribe button. It's the best way you can pay it forward to me. Guys, I appreciate you and I love you. And I will be on tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. We have a really cool topic. Hop on and flip with Rick and join us. And I will see you guys then. So what did I leave on here? Let's see. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Dracos. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. See you later.